Well, as you can hear, you know, the whole fucking video messed up just because my Wi-Fi started fucking lagging. I don't know how that works. I don't know what configuration, PlayStation has with that type of bullshit, but the whole fucking video, 59 minutes of recording, which isn't that long, I ain't gonna lie. It just sounds choppy as fuck, and it gets uneven. So I'm gonna have to summarize this whole shit. So yeah. So off the rip, Uncle was just slandering John because of, he was being realistic about the situation they're in, and Uncle just couldn't handle the truth. And he ended up telling John that he was hopeless, and all the shit he was saying was the reason that Abigail left him. And he just started shitting on the house out of nowhere, and he basically just said, "Oh, we gotta knock it down." And of course, we decided to listen to him for some reason, and the house just gets fucking crumbled. After that, Uncle, he's just like, "Oh, we're gonna go buy a house, out of a book on some dumb shit," even though we all know his ass is broke. He's not spending a fucking dime on this house. And the location just wouldn't pop up on the map, so, I decided to go see Miss Adler. But on the way there, I got sniped by the fucking Skinner brothers, who, at this point, I have no idea who the fuck they are. And they just start saying, "Oh yeah, we see all types of, the little bullshit that they say." And obviously, it was like 5 niggas, got them up out of there. And we got to the place to see Miss Adler, and she started giving a speech about bastards and different type of bastards. Oh, just, she was yapping. Then she just started talking about some guy named Shane Finley, who was being, he was disguised as a lady in some fallen woman house. I don't know what type of weird shit he was on, but he still got fucking caught, which is just, I ain't gonna lie, that's crazy as fuck how you disguise as a lady and you still get caught. But she caught him, but she ended up getting robbed by some dude named James Langston. And obviously, she wanted to get him back. So, on the way there, they were having the obsession about how, first of all, how John saw Charles and Uncle. And they also talking about how, the regrets they have about believing in Dutch. And eventually we ended up scoping out where Langston and his crew was. And we snuck around, tried to cut them off. But, well, we got the first guards with knives, but then after that, they tried to go over a squeaky ass bridge, which was fucking stupid. And obviously, they saw us, they heard us, and it was about to end badly because of that. But listen, the Hall of Fame shooting skills of John fucking Marston bailed them out. He was just killing everybody. Miss Adler was not fucking helping at all. She just was barely hitting her shots. John Marston was carrying her ass. He could have just done this shit alone and it would have worked. But that happened, and we eventually got to Finley, and a fucking course, he's there on the ground dead. So that happened, and we were escorting his body out, and then a fucking swarm of Langston's people just tried to kill us. My horse tries to sacrifice this whole thing, but it does not matter, because once again, the fucking Hall of Fame shooting skills of John Marston get them out of another situation. So it just doesn't matter. It could be a million people trying to kill John Marston. He will get out that bitch. He'll get out of it. It doesn't matter. And on the way back, Marston, he has a vulnerable moment. He says that killing's all he's good for, which is it's true. I ain't gonna lie. I just talked about his shooting skills. Listen, that's all he's good for. But Sadie, he was like, oh, I said he, nigga. She was like, "Oh, you gonna be with, you gonna have your grandkids sitting on the porch." That shit's not happening. I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't. But, we turned the body in. I got $150 from the bounty, which was more money than I even had, because all the money just fucking gone for some reason. He got no money from working on that farm for months. I don't know how that works, but that happened. Then for some reason, the house building nigga was open at 3 a.m. So we went there, and he brings out this big ass book of houses, and they don't even let me choose the house. He just chooses the house for himself. And potentially he could have got scammed, but whatever, not my problem. And all of a sudden, it's just fucking morning time, and Charles is there with hired guns, and they load the wood and shit into the carriage, and he also just starts talking about the Skinner brothers lurking around, and that's the reason he has those hired guns there. Their names Mr. Devon, Mr. Wayne, and we have to go get more material. So Mr. Wayne, he gets into my carriage and he just yapping his ass off about how I'm safe, I'm safe with him, and you know his experience with guns is the reason that I should calm down and not be paranoid. And we eventually get to the place that we're supposed to be at, which is some guy named Neil, and he gives us the tools that we need. And just as we're pulling off, guess what fucking happens? This nigga Mr. Wayne just gets fucking sniped in the chest by an arrow. Basically, he's a fake ass gunslinger. The nigga was talking all that shit and did nothing. When time came for him to do something to keep his eyes open, his eyes weren't open, and that's what happened. And that starts a big ass fight because it's the fucking Skinners, of course, and we're fighting them, and they get around us and they take Mr. Wayne. So me and Charles, we had to go around the forest. We just eviscerating more of the Skinners, and it just takes fucking forever because Charles wouldn't cover my ass. Ended up getting me killed like once or twice, but eventually, killed them. And we found Mr. Wayne. He was pinned to a tree. Just like I said, just tragic. He was talking. I was supposed to be safe in his hands, but he's fucking dead now. So of course, all the shit meant nothing that he said. And we left with the tools, made it to Beaches Hope, and we had to start the long and grueling process of building this fucking house. And this nigga uncle, he's gonna say that he's the brains of the operation, and that's the reason he'll just read the fucking instructions off the paper, which was just obviously that nigga's not the brains of the operations. He isn't shit. He's useless. He's fucking useless. He's fucking useless. What are we gonna use him for in the building? Nigga, you go do something else. Go make some money, bro. Cause building wise, that shit ain't gonna work. Even reading, it's not gonna work. Just go do something else. After that hard work that John and Charles put into building the house, Uncle, he actually said something positive for once. And, after they celebrated a little bit, it wasn't even nothing crazy. John, he decided he was going to write something to Abigail, talking about how he's changed, even though he's barely changed. And that he's going to start ranching and try and convince her to come back. But then the game, it just pump faked the fuck out of me because they said a few days later, and nothing happened. I thought, they were gonna come back. They did not come back. So, nigga, all we did was build a house. That's literally all that happened. Niggas got killed over building houses and shit. So it's just tragic. But hopefully next time my Wi-Fi doesn't fucking explode in the middle of me recording. So I'm gone.